There is a woman who stands in the storm, her feet planted deep in the soil of resilience, her eyes fixed on a horizon she cannot yet see but believes in with a faith that moves mountains. She has known the weight of the world, felt the pressure of hands trying to bend her, break her, silence her, but she is a woman who refuses to break. She understands that the road ahead is not paved with ease, that the night may be long, but she also knows deep in her bones that God will make a way where there seems to be no way. This woman is not defined by the battles she has fought, but by the grace with which she rises again and again like the sun after the darkest night. She carries within her the strength of generations, the whispers of ancestors who walked through fire and emerged not as ashes, but as flames. She is every woman who has been told no and whispered yes, every woman who has been counted out but refused to be erased. Keynote 1, the power of unyielding faith. Faith is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of certainty in the midst of it. The woman who refuses to break knows that faith is not a passive waiting, but an active believing, a relentless trust that God is working even when the evidence is not yet visible. She has stood at the edge of despair and chosen to step forward anyway, not because the path is clear, but because she trusts the one who lights the way. Her faith is not fragile. It is forged in the fires of adversity, tempered by trials, and proven in the moments when giving up would have been easier. She does not demand answers before she moves. She moves because she knows the answers will come. Her faith is a defiance against doubt, a declaration that even when the world says impossible, God says, watch me. Keynote 2, the strength of silent endurance. Endurance is not glamorous. It does not shout or demand applause. It is the quiet determination to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. The woman who refuses to break has mastered the art of endurance. She has learned that some battles are won not by loud proclamations, but by silent perseverance, by the ability to stand firm when the winds howl and the ground shakes beneath her. Her strength is not in never falling, but in rising every time she falls, in brushing off the dust and stepping forward again. She understands that endurance is not about speed, but about stamina, not about how fast you run, but how long you can keep running. Her life is a testament to the truth that the most powerful victories are often won in the quietest moments. There is a kind of faith that lives beyond reason, beyond logic, beyond what the eye can see and the mind can explain. This faith is not built from evidence. It is built from experience, intuition, and the knowing that does not come from books or theories, but from the soul itself. When sickness strikes, the logical part of us wants to understand it. We seek answers, causes, treatments, and timelines. We map the terrain of our pain with the tools we are given. But faith walks a different path. Faith does not need to understand to believe. It does not need proof to trust. It steps forward in the darkness, not because it sees the end, but because it knows the light is coming. Prayer fueled by that kind of faith is electric. It is the bold refusal to be defined by circumstances. It is the belief that healing is not only possible, but imminent. And that belief is not naive. It is powerful. It is not an escape from reality. It is a deeper dive into the truth that reality can change. In the moments when everything logical says, you are finished, faith rises up and says, you are not through yet. It becomes the breath that carries the words of prayer like arrows into the heart of the unseen. That kind of prayer does not bargain, it commands. It proclaims what the soul already knows, that healing can come not in weeks or months, but in seconds. Because when faith speaks, creation listens. When faith speaks, disease loses its grip. Faith is not blind. It sees through a different lens, and it dares to speak life where others see death. That is the kind of faith that heals. That is the kind of prayer that transforms. There is power in the spoken word, a force ancient and holy, woven into the very fabric of creation. In the beginning, it was the word that brought light. The universe responded not to action, but to utterance. And so, when you speak with faith, when you release words charged with conviction, the universe must move. Prayer that heals does not tremble, it commands. Not from arrogance, but from knowing. Knowing that the words we speak shape the world we live in. When your mouth aligns with your spirit, your voice becomes more than sound. It becomes decree. Words are not just tools of expression, they are agents of transformation. A prayer spoken with authority is not a wish, it is a weapon. It cuts through doubt. It slices through fear. It reaches into the body's disorder and calls forth alignment. When you say, "I am healed," you are not ignoring the pain. You are overriding it. You are placing your truth above your circumstance. And the body, the cells, the very particles of your being begin to echo what they hear, because the body is always listening. It listens to fear. It listens to despair, but it also listens to faith. And when your mouth proclaims what your soul believes, miracles begin to move. Sickness loses its foothold because the authority of your voice has made space for restoration. Prayer must be spoken with boldness, not doubt. It must rise from the gut and be spoken out loud, not for others to hear, but for creation itself to respond. The word is the bridge between the invisible and the tangible, between the spirit and the skin. Speak with intention, speak with fire, speak healing into existence. And watch as the power of your voice reshapes what you once thought was unchangeable. Miracles move at the speed of belief. There is a false idea that miracles take time, that healing is always slow, that change must crawl its way into our lives like a hesitant visitor. But there is another truth, a deeper one. Miracles move at the speed of belief. When your spirit aligns with divine power, healing doesn't have to tiptoe in. It arrives. It bursts forth. Because belief creates a landing place for the impossible. The moment you believe, not with your mind, but with your whole being, healing can happen in an instant. This kind of belief is not a mental exercise. It's not a statement you repeat to feel better. It is full body agreement. It is when your mind, heart, and soul all say yes in unison. When you stop hoping timidly and start believing fiercely, in that space, there are no delays. The divine is not slow, it is immediate. It moves at the pace of your agreement. If you believe healing must take months, it may. But if you believe it can happen now, if you open yourself completely, healing can be sudden, complete, and undeniable. Belief is the activator. It is the green light. It is not about convincing a higher power to move. It is about removing the barriers within you that keep you from receiving what is already flowing. Healing is not withheld, it is offered. But it can only enter a heart that is ready to receive. And readiness is not passivity, it is active trust. It is the boldness to say, "I do not know how, but I know it is done." In that moment, the miracle does not hesitate. It races toward you. Because belief makes room for it. It clears the path. It swings the door open wide. And when that door is open, healing does not walk. It floods in. Sickness is not sovereign. Disease may be loud, but it is not sovereign. It may speak, but it does not speak the final word. There is a throne inside you that does not belong to pain. There is a crown above your spirit that illness cannot touch. Sickness can inhabit the body, but it cannot own the soul. It is a visitor, not a ruler. And like any intruder, it can be cast out. The problem is, we often give it too much authority. We repeat its name more than we speak healing. We believe its timeline more than we trust divine timing. But sickness is not the king. Your spirit is. And prayer is the act of reclaiming the throne. When you pray, you remind your body that its master is not the illness, it is the divine within you. You take the crown off the disease and return it to where it belongs, on your head. When you pray with authority, you shift the power structure. You dethrone the diagnosis. You say, "You may have entered, but you will not remain." Prayer does not deny the presence of sickness. It denies its permanence. It does not pretend the pain isn't real. It declares that pain is not final. You are not a victim of your body. You are the vessel of divine life. And that life is undefeated. So when you pray, don't kneel to the illness. Stand up to it. Speak to it as one who knows their royalty. Command it to go. And do not waver, because sickness has power only where permission is granted. Revoke that permission. Reclaim your health. Announce that your body is sacred ground and no disease is welcome here. Prayer that heals in seconds comes from that place, a place where sovereignty is remembered, where fear is evicted, and where the soul rises and says, "This is my body," and healing reigns here. The world has always had a script for women, a list of roles to play, limits to accept, and boxes to fit into. But the woman who refuses to break has torn up that script. She dares to defy expectations, to rewrite the narrative, to declare that she will not be confined by the smallness of others' imaginations. Her courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that fear will not have the final say. She walks into rooms where she is not welcome and claims her seat at the table. She speaks truths that make others uncomfortable because she knows that silence is a luxury she cannot afford. Her defiance is not rebellion for its own sake, but a refusal to let the world dictate her worth. There is a wisdom in knowing what to hold on to and what to release. The woman who refuses to break has learned the art of letting go, of relationships that drain her, of dreams that no longer serve her, of the weight of other people's opinions. She understands that not every battle is hers to fight, not every burden is hers to carry. Her strength lies in her discernment, in her ability to release what is not meant for her so she can embrace what is. Letting go is not surrender. It is an act of self-preservation, a declaration that she will not be anchored to what keeps her from moving forward. She knows that God makes a way not by adding to her load, but by teaching her what to leave behind. In a world that constantly tries to name her, label her, and define her, the woman who refuses to break knows who she is. Her identity is not rooted in the opinions of others, the titles she holds, or the roles she fills. It is anchored in something deeper, something unshakable, the knowledge that she is fearfully and wonderfully made, crafted with purpose and called by name. She does not seek validation from the outside because she carries it within. Her worth is not up for debate. It is settled. This unshaken identity allows her to walk with confidence, to love without fear, and to stand tall even when others try to diminish her. God will make a way. This is the promise that sustains her, the truth that fuels her when the road is steep and the night is long. She has seen doors open that should have remained shut, seen provision come from unexpected places, seen miracles unfold in the ordinary moments of life. She knows that God's ways are not her ways, that His timing is not her timing, but she trusts that He is always working. Her life is a living testimony that what is meant for her will not pass her by, that what is ordained will find her. She does not worry about the how or the when. She rests in the certainty that the same God who parted the Red Sea is still making a way today. So let it be known, the woman who refuses to break will not be forgotten. Her story is not one of defeat, but of divine deliverance, not of shattering, but of soaring. She is proof that God makes a way for those who trust him, who endure, who dare to believe. And when the final chapter of her life is written, it will not speak of brokenness, but of victory, not of what was lost, but of what was gained. For she is the woman who stood firm, who held on, who refused to break, and God, in his infinite grace, made a way.